Scott Adams isn't wrong. Tim Pool is disingenuous at best, and Mark Dice, well, Mark Dice nails it as usual. So for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the creator of the Dilbert comic strip, Scott Adams, recently caused a whirlwind of controversy when he responded to the specific Rasmussen poll. Now, since he responded to that poll, he's been just about fully canceled, and he's been labeled a racist. Shocking, I know. So what did Scott say that was just so bad and so controversial? Well, apparently this.
Well, Rasmussen poll had a provocative little poll today. They said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, it's okay to be white? That was an actual question. Rasmussen asked, white and black voters, and probably others, do you disagree or agree with the statement, it's okay to be white? 26% of blacks said no. It's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. That's like a real poll. This just happened. Did you have any idea? Would you have imagined that could have happened? So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. All right, this can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over.
A few moments later.
And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens. I realize it's anecdotal, and it doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening. But every damn day I look on social media and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it, right? So I quit.
Being branded a racist in today's public forum is like being accused of communism in the 50s.
So that's the gist of what Scott Adams said that's got him canceled and labeled a racist. Now, I don't know Scott personally, but I've watched and listened to his podcast enough over the past 2 years that I can say with near certainty that Scott Adams is not a racist. Now, I disagree with him much of the time, and he's a lot of things. I think he's an egomaniac. I think he's slightly narcissistic. He doesn't handle opposing viewpoints well, and he's kind of a crybaby. But he's not a racist. That's ridiculous on its face. Now, one thing that Scott did say that I thought was a very important point was he said, don't treat the individual like the group. if you have a black neighbor or a black friend or a black family member, you obviously treat those people with respect. And I couldn't agree more. I have the perfect example of that. So my parents, who are elderly and have some health issues, the family that lives next to them is a black family. Now, the father of that black family helps my dad out a lot. If there's a snowstorm outside and I haven't got over to snowball yet, the guy will go over there with his little bobcat machine and clear all the snow out of the driveway. If I'm over there and I'm helping my dad do something in the yard and I need a ladder or some tools or something, I'll go ask him, yeah, Mike, help yourself, whatever you need. The nicest guy in the world. There isn't anybody else I would want living next door to my parents other than that black family. But does that mean I'm going to go move into South Central or move into the Bronx or Harlem? I mean, that's crazy. And these people that are calling Scott names and that are trying to cancel him, they don't want to talk about that poll. The alarmingly high number of black Americans that don't think it's okay to be white. And I know polls aren't always right. They're skewed. I mean, how many people were polled? I know. But still, that's alarming. If I see a bowl of M&Ms sitting on a table and someone says, well, you can have the M&Ms, but just under half of them are going to make you sick, I'm not going to take my chances. I'm not going to touch the M&Ms. I'm going to say, okay, I don't need the M&Ms in my life. I'm just going to go on about my life and forget about the M&Ms. Get away from the M&Ms, right? I mean, I know it's comparing apples to oranges, but anyway, so pretty much every content creator, political commentator has done a reaction to what's going on with Scott, because this is pretty big news. This is a pretty big thing. And Tim Pool, I think, had the worst take on this whole thing. Now, Tim Pool about a year ago had Andrew Clavin from the Daily Wire on his Timcast IRL podcast, and they were talking about this exact thing. Now, Tim Pool tried to say it was class, it was, it was poverty, and Andrew Clavin said, no, it's not that at all. It's got to do with culture. And he explained why it was culture, and he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. Just like Scott said, we see these videos after video after video on social media of black people attacking white people. Big groups of black people fighting each other in the airport a lot for some reason. Big groups of black people running into stores and looting and robbing them. It's the culture. The black culture is destroying black communities. Andrew Clavin also said the fatherlessness in the black communities is a huge cause for all the problems. Tim Pool says, oh, no, it's class. Tim Pool has to know what's going on. He can't be that blind. It seems like he stays on top of things, but I guess it's kind of the same thing where he says he thinks that Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I think he just does it maybe to keep his YouTube ad revenue. I don't know.
So, Dilbert's canceled. Scott Adams apparently said on his show that he moved as far away from black people as possible, but there's a lot to break down, okay? So a bunch of newspapers are shutting down Dilbert. They're getting rid of Dilbert. Scott Adams said he knew this was happening. His income is gone. His reputation is destroyed. He's never coming back from this. I don't know what's going on, but hey, look, if Scott Adams truly feels the way he feels and he's speaking honestly about his feelings, I respect him for doing so. Now, in his statements and assessments, I want to point out that I believe he is mostly incorrect. Mostly incorrect.
You need to shut the up.
So I'm going to put the rest of that video in the description box below. But like I said, it's so disingenuous. It's just Tim talking about how it's a class problem and it's about income and poverty and it's not about race. Okay. Now I'm going to play 3 videos of black people talking about white people. And what these people say is way worse than anything Scott Adams said. And do you think any of these people got canceled? No. The lady on the screen here, she, her name's Ashley Shackelford. She's a critical race theorist, and she goes around to corporations and businesses and such, teaching critical race theory, so basically spewing anti-white rhetoric. She probably makes 6 figures a year doing it. Anyway, before I roll these last 3 videos, a couple more points I wanted to make very quickly is something that Brandon Tatum said and something that Mr. Reagan, another YouTuber, said. So Brandon Tatum said that when these black people make it, they move to the white neighborhoods. I mean, you look at the athletes. LeBron James, I guarantee he's living around a bunch of white people. Look at Patrice Concolors, the leader of BLM. She bought a house in Topanga Canyon, which is mostly white people. She got out of the black neighborhood. She claims not to like white people. So that's what even these black people do is they don't make money. They don't make it. They don't become successful and live in the black neighborhoods. They get out. Also, what Mr. Reagan said was there are a lot of neighborhoods in these big cities, in these urban areas, that you can't go in after dark if you're white. And you can't go down in these neighborhoods because there's a bunch of white people running around. It's because there are a bunch of black people down there. And it's too dangerous if you're a white person. How crazy is that if you're a white person and you go to a certain neighborhood at night in the United States, it's dangerous for you? That's absurd to think of. And that it's real. That's true. Nobody wants to talk about that. Anyway, let's check out what this gem has to say.
All white people are racist. So I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, oh, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because I believe that white people are born into not being human, like that actually, instead of people of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So in this particular way, white people are all racist. So I just want y'all to know that up front.
Go on a diet, you fat.
White people superior at?
What exactly are white people superior at?
They're real good at violence.
Violence. Genocide. It's like stealing people's lives just because they feel like it.
If you are white and you know this is happening and you say nothing, then you're a killer too.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Insecurity. Pretending.
Fear. Being fearful of nothing. Being ignorant.
Blame.
Letting their egos control their every move. Superior at being dicks.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oppression. Gaslighting.
Lack of empathy.
Intellectualizing oppression. Did I say oppression?
What exactly are white people superior at?
Taking what's not there. Taking shit.
Taking our ideas.
Copycatting.
Gentrification.
Appropriating things that do not belong to them.
Taking over other people's cultures and making you believe that they invented it.
Maybe they're thinking of it as repurposing. It's like recycle and repurpose.
As my grandma would say, them white folk, they'll take it if you don't copyright it.
They are very good at destruction of land, destruction of people, destruction of humanness.
Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're conservative, like white people are really good at upholding white supremacy.
How about claiming that, they are actually a whole separate race, when actually white DNA comes from the black female?
So what exactly are white people superior at?
Honey, lying, stealing, and cheating.
Manipulation. Withholding information.
Lying.
Telling lies.
Hey, where are the white women at?
That white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? The real sort of issue here, and I've heard people sort of say it, is one, I think that white people viscerally fear. It's not that white people don't know, right, what they have done. They know.
And are we the baddies?
I may be a white boy, but I'm not stupid. And you ain't black.